Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing very well today. This video is going to go on to our authority series. This is our 4-month review of having our authority. We're going to include a few of our trials, tribulations, and maybe even a couple of victories. We pulled our first load with our authority 10/1/2019, and today is February the 7th, 2020, so just over 4 months. We were able to go straight to our direct shipper once we got active and everything. We was really hoping that was going to be the case, and it turned out it was. So that was great. I've been able to continue on. The only time I lost was about 1 week that I was using to get all of my plates and everything situated, my letters put on my truck and all of that. So the biggest problem I had is I was not going to factor, me being the brainiac that I am. So I waited on my money for 30 days. Which, worked out pretty good for a while. But, as y'all know, at one point, they got further than 30 days behind. And it really, really kind of hurt, especially around the holidays. But at the beginning, we were having to pay cash for fuel because I hadn't made a decision on a fuel card at the time. And that was pretty interesting, finding places that I could pay for my fuel with my company debit card. But eventually I managed to get on with Love's. And Love's don't have the very best discount, but their close proximity to the location where I haul from made it very convenient. And they also have the tire care and different things like that, some mechanical repairs. That kind of attracted me to them, I guess you could say. Plus, I'm going to be hiring drivers on, is what I was thinking. So I was thinking they have one of the best rewards programs around for my drivers, and that would help them, be a little happier with their job. After that, it was basically just waiting that time for the checks to start coming, man. It was the longest 4 weeks, actually almost 5 weeks, waiting on that first check to come. I still have a picture of the first check. I might end up framing that bad boy. And, I was running like that for 2 months. And then we decided we were going to put our MaxForce single axle truck on the road, pulling out our direct shipper. Well, I had been thinking about it even before I left Advanced, but I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it so early, but we were. And my driver is a good friend. He came up to me and said he decided that he did want to drive for us. So we went ahead and started working and made everything happen. I think it was December the 1st, 2019. It was his first day. And man, he did great. He's still doing great. But he did have a crash about 2 or 3 weeks into the job. We had some bad weather, tornadoes, heavy rain, wind, and it blew him and the trailer off in a ditch. It was a scary time for me because being a new authority and not knowing how exactly everything worked, man, it was rough. It was scary. But the good Lord and our good friends and family came together, and we were able to get the truck back on the road within 3 days. Pulling loads, pulling freight. It wasn't a FMCSA reportable accident because we were able to drive it away. Nobody got a ticket. Nobody got injured. There were no fatalities. So we were highly blessed in the situation, even as bad as it was. And I don't think it's going to cause us any undue stress come April when our insurance renews, but our insurance did not go up immediately. Like, that was one of the things that I was kind of afraid of, is if the insurance would go up immediately. And I wouldn't have liked that at all. Because as I started him, we didn't start getting his money that he was pulling for until January. So we had to wait 30 days on his money also. But even on top of that, waiting on his money, the money that I was supposed to be getting coming around the holidays, probably just about halfway through December, it stopped. And it was about 3 more weeks before I started getting any money back. So during the holidays and New Year's, I didn't make no money. I paid my driver, I paid my bills, and all of my cushion that I had left after the accident was getting ate up really quick. And I was gaining a few gray hairs, to say the least. It wasn't nothing that I did other than the fact that I did not factor my loads. If I would have factored my loads, there never would have been an issue. But that being said, I didn't factor, so I had to wait on the company to send the money. And for some reason, for a few weeks, they did not make out checks at the end of the year. And that really, really put a damper on my few days there. When we started the authority, I'll go ahead and be candid with you, we had about 20 grand saved up. And during all of the hardest times there, we got down to as low as $1,000. Man, it was unforeseen, because I did not believe that they would do that. I did not believe that would happen. But when they finally did start sending the money, they sent some, they tried to catch themselves up to 30 days. So that helped jump up the money. And finally, when our driver's money started coming in, things started looking a little bit better. But before the end of January, at the beginning of January, really, the loads, the bottom just fell out. Most days I only had one load for my driver and no loads for me. So that was kind of one of those situations when you put all your eggs in one basket. I wanted to stay with my truck to be available for my shipper, but at the same time I did not want to go broke, but I couldn't tell. I didn't have enough headway on the load to know if I had one or not, whether I could go run some loads on the spot market and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. And then, hiring a driver, I learned a lot about the withholding and the Social Security and Medicare. Look, it's over $100 a week that I have to pay extra on top of his salary for his Social Security and Medicare. Then I got to pay unemployment, and I have, if I want to put workers' comp on, from my preliminary research, turns out that's going to be about 10% of his pay. That's a lump. That's a hit extra on top of his money that I would have to be paying weekly. But luckily, workers' comp is not something that you have to have until you have 4 or 5 employees. I think it's 5 in Mississippi. I can't remember. I don't even think that they're going to force you to take it if you live in Texas. If you have over 5 employees, I think that's one of the benefits of Texas. But if you don't have workers' comp, you take a risk. You take a big risk, because if somebody gets injured, you'll have to pay for their bills and stuff. If it's, work related, just like a workers' comp would. So that could be kind of rough on a business, on a young business. It could take your wheels out from under you. It could hold you back. But luckily, we haven't had any issues, and I plan on getting workers' comp, but I don't know when we're going to get it. I'm going to have to find somebody with a really good rate, because I'm not real impressed by the rates that I've been hearing. There was I think it was Landline that maybe did a article on workers' compensation and the rates and everything. I need to go back and find that article and research it. Well, moving on from the whole hiring employee debate, Max Force little truck ended up having to get a new set of shoes. It's only a single axle, so I only had to buy 4. And we went ahead and we got the Love's retreads, and that's been about a month ago. And so far, knock on wood, we have not had any issues with those retreads. I'm happy about that. They were a little expensive, but I'm happy we got them on and everything, and they haven't gave us any problems. And I was able to ride that little bit of credit, because see, when you do a service or some tires with the Love's card, that comes down in a month. Your fuel comes down every week. So I was able to ride that for a little while. Yep. After the tires is when everything's really started getting slower. Well, here last week we had to put a new clutch in the Max Force, and that was $2,000. So our Max Force truck is going to be in really good shape pretty soon. I mean, so far the engine has been running like a top. We haven't really had no large issues with it. It does have a small oil leak, but I don't think it's hurting anything at the moment. Whenever I get another truck, I don't know if I'm going to keep that Max Force or if I'm going to sell it. Right now, I might just keep it for a yard dog. And then come yesterday, I didn't have a load, and I was needing a steer tire on my truck. And we went and we got us a Yokohama. And the last time I went to the TA, the guy claimed that he could balance my aluminum wheels without no problem. That thing bounced from the time that I got it on that tire on the passenger side. And this tire on the driver's side, it finally started wearing a lot on the outside. So I went ahead and took it off, put this Yokohama on there, but I made the guy where I went, Gene's Tire in Macomb, Mississippi, we got him to balance both tires. And y'all, let me tell you, my truck's riding smooth. It ain't beating me to death. I should have went back to get my tire spin balanced on that other side, but the Love's down there where I'm at, Fernwood, Mississippi, the balancing machine has been out for multiple months, and I don't reckon, are planning on fixing it. I don't know what the holdup is on that deal. And I wasn't about to go back to the place where I bought the tire and let the same guy try to spin balance it, because apparently he couldn't do his job the right way anyhow. And I hadn't really been anywhere else. So I was going to wait until I got this other tire, because I could see the wear coming in it. And that's what I did. And that was $510 for a brand new Yokohama steer tire, spun balance and everything. Now, the only other thing I have to do, we did get our Max Force truck serviced. So now it's time for me to get my truck serviced, and I'm going to probably tackle that one day next week. And then I think I'll be caught up on all my maintenance and stuff, because we did manage to spin out a little bit of profit the last 2 weeks. Not a lot, but a little bit. And that's what it takes. Every little bit counts. You know your numbers, factor your loads, but try to find a good factoring company where, they'll allow you to factor some and not some. Don't hire on the one that's going to force you to factor everything. That's just my opinion. God bless, and I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you on the next ride, good people.